It's so weird. We own all of this.
Yeah! If you've been following this channel, you would have seen us documenting our journey as it happened.
If you are new to this channel and haven't seen all of those videos, let's do a quick timeline recap.
So on our road to owning our first home in Auckland, New Zealand, on the 16th of June 2024, we released a video discussing why we want to buy, owning versus renting, real estate versus stock market, and our current situation.
Next, on the 20th of June, here comes our second part of this video series. Now is when we believe our house buying journey actually seriously got started. In this second video, we took you through the process of applying for a pre-approval with Squirrel. We showed what was needed and we also talked about why we chose Squirrel over all other lenders out there.
Our third video was a recording of our meeting with our Squirrel mortgage advisor. Now, going with Squirrel was probably the best decision we made in our first home buying journey, because after speaking with Squirrel, we felt a lot more confident and more clear about the house buying process. We had this meeting on the 4th of July, and on the 13th and 14th of July, which was the following weekend, we went to about 15 open homes.
Now, 15 open homes in one weekend might seem a bit too much, but with some careful planning, we managed this well. When we went to these open homes, instead of just seeing how it was, we had a list of things to check and a list of questions to ask the agent.
For example, on our list of things to check, we had things such as the size of the sink, water pressure, window in the bathroom, the amount of wall sockets and their location, potential flooding issues. We made a separate video on this. I'll leave a link to it in the description.
And on our list of questions to ask the agent, we had questions such as, why are the owners selling it? How old is the house? And has the property had any work done? We want to stress again that this was just our list and these are just some of the examples. Your list will probably be different to ours.
The main point is our list was created before we went house hunting, and this helped us stay logical when looking at houses instead of going with our emotions. We tracked everything using a spreadsheet which had things such as advertised price, property type, land value, council rate, floor space and land space, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, year made, commute time to work, and so on. Now, we said we made a list to keep our emotions out of our decision, but when we found this house, we absolutely fell in love with it. But we were able to back it up with logical reasons as to why we should buy this house.
We also viewed the house more than once because it's likely that you might miss a few things on your first visit. And when we decided that we do want this house, we had no idea what to do next.
And that's where Squirrel came into the rescue again.
Our Squirrel mortgage advisor was available for us to call at any time, so we gave him a ring while we were in this open home.
Hello, how are we doing?
We said we found a house that we really like. What do we do next?
This is when he walked us through making a conditional offer and shared tips on what to do and what to include and what to watch out for. And this brings us to our fourth video in this series, where we talked about making a conditional offer and what we included in it. So since we made the conditional offer, things got a whole lot busier.
The first thing we had to do was find a lawyer. We recommend you ask your friends and family for recommendations because the one we went with, we did not like. They made this process more confusing and frustrating than it needed to be. We will not name them in this video because, well, we don't want to mess around with lawyers.
But the reasons as to why we didn't like our lawyer was, firstly, they asked us to complete forms or send forms that we had already sent and completed just a few days ago. This happened several times. Honestly, we expected them to be a little bit more organized because they are charging us thousands of dollars. Secondly, they asked us to call our KiwiSaver providers to keep the pressure on them. We thought that this was a weird request. Nonetheless, we did call our KiwiSaver providers, and they thought it was weird as well that our lawyer had asked us to do this. Thirdly, they asked us to ask the real estate agent for more details about the vendor. Again, we did what the lawyer asked, and the real estate agent said that this is a question our lawyer should directly be asking their lawyer. Again, a complete time-wasting and frustrating mess around for us. Fourth reason, they hardly had time for us. Every single time we suggested a time that we could come in, sign forms, they said that they were too busy at that time. We and our employees had to move a lot of stuff around so that we could meet them when it is more convenient for them. The whole time we were with them, it felt like they did not have time for us, but took us on as clients anyways for extra money. Okay, enough talking about lawyers.
While the lawyers were making us do their work, everyone else has been working hard for us. Our Squirrel mortgage advisor has been working with the banks to get the best deal for us. By that, I mean the best interest rates and the best cashback. Our mortgage advisor was also far more available to chat with us. For example, there was a week I had to spend down in Wellington and I was very busy with other commitments. I don't know what I'm doing here. Our Squirrel mortgage advisor was so flexible, he was willing to catch up with us via video call at 7:30 on a Monday night, which we really appreciate. Here's a little bit of what we talked about.
your finance condition on your offer is now able to be satisfied. Like anything to do with a purchase, it always requires a legal instruction. So that's just a simple, email to your lawyer to say, hey, look, finance condition has been satisfied. Attach the letter of offer if you haven't already, and fire it off. Really, from here on, it's a conversation between you guys to go, hey, look, is there anything that we're not comfortable about the property itself? Supplementing that with the builder's report information. Approaching the vendor and say, hey, look, we'd like these things rectified. Once that's done, then you're actually free to go unconditional anytime you like. So that could be any time from now.
Okay.
Cool. That's supposed to be exciting. Yeah.
We decided not to show the whole meeting this time just because we have a lot of things to squeeze into this video. But in that meeting, our Squirrel mortgage advisor, Adam, discussed different loan structures and what might be best for us at the time. Adam also talked about what we should expect next in the house buying process, such as what to do with the builder's report and what we should look at during the pre-settlement walkthrough of the house.
A builder's report was one of the conditions we choose to have on our offer. Now, we bought a brand new property, so you may think, why would we spend money for someone to come check out something that is brand new? Well, we wanted an inspection done because brand new does not mean everything should be fine. When a new house is getting built, there are often different companies and contractors that are doing different parts around the house. And some might try to finish the job as early as possible so they can move on to the next job. The faster you do a job, the more money you could potentially make. Some might even cut corners to save on costs so they can maximize the profits even further.
All these things mean that there might be poor workmanship and overall poor quality of work, which might end up costing you more if it is not picked up earlier.
Now, when it comes to looking for an inspector, we have a few tips. First of all, house inspections are an unregulated space. Anyone can do a house inspection and charge you for it. So the first thing we did was check whether our inspector was accredited. To check if someone is accredited, come to the Building Officials Institute of New Zealand webpage and search for the inspector's name. Being accredited means their qualification skills and processes are peer-reviewed by experts in the field. Second tip is to look for an inspector who will give you what you want. For example, we didn't want an inspector that would go around looking for rotten wood. It's a new build, so we looked for someone who knew what to look for in a new build, and someone who would provide us with a detailed but easy to read report, complete with pictures. Last tip for a builder's report, if you choose to include it in your offer, is to check the online reviews of the inspector. There were a few things that were picked up from the inspection. Thankfully, there were minor things such as a little bit of rust and corrosion on the front gate, removal of weed, water blasting required in some places, front door needing some adjustment, and some scratches that needed some attention.
We asked the real estate agent to fix all these before the settlement date. The real estate agent checked with the developers and agreed that it would get remedied in time.
We were now ready to go unconditional on our offer. So on the 5th of August, we instructed our lawyer to go unconditional on our offer. The house was going to be ours.
Now, this leads on to the next few things we had to do. We needed to get insurance for the house as part of the home loan requirement. We needed to pay the deposit. We needed to meet with our Squirrel mortgage advisor one last time to confirm the loan structure.
After the loan structures were confirmed, the bank sent the loan documents to the lawyer, and we met with the lawyers one last time to sign all of the documents.
And that's it for the lawyers. Lawyers take care of the rest, including the transfer of the title and the money.
And all we had to do was book in a time with the real estate agent to do one final inspection before the settlement date.
This is important too because this is the last time to check if everything is working properly. And in our case, the oven wasn't working properly, which we flagged amongst other things and got them all fixed. Our Squirrel mortgage advisor said it best. Here's a little clip from our conversation.
And be critical, right? It could be paint touch-ups. It could be, I'd be having another walk through the property with a overly critical eye. Open and close drawers, open and close cupboards, open fully. Make sure that there's no issues when it swings right out. If a door's not hung evenly, it looks like it's fine when you first open it, and then you open it the whole way and you have a problem. Make sure locking mechanisms work. Make sure ranch sliders are smooth and that they're not gritty at all. Look in the back of cupboards. Be excessively critical, because this is the time that you can flag all the really minor cosmetic stuff, because you are buying a brand new property and you deserve to have it absolutely perfect. Once you do pay for the property. Obviously, you've got your master builder warranty for 10 years on the property, so structurally you're absolutely looked after, but minor defects become a real problem because, wear and tear then becomes a factor that needs to be considered.
And thanks for that talk. But I was the type of guy that just like, it's fine. Like, it's just a dent. So.
Be rude. Be that really just, the person that kind of makes you cringe a bit because you're like, how can you say that? It makes me sound, be that person.
Right.
Be my mom.
Yeah. I haven't met your mom and I know exactly what you mean.
And then, final thing, we got ready for the move.
We did the move ourselves to save some money. And now we have our own place. We won't be given a tour of our place because it's never a good idea to show off where you live to a bunch of strangers online.
But we are comfortable enough to tell you that it is a townhouse with 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, for a total of $759,000.
Now, this is going to be our home for a while, and that's what we wanted. We don't want to be active in the property market just yet. So our goal right now is to pay off the mortgage as soon as possible. And put in as much money as early as possible because the bank makes the most money from you during the early stages of the loan. At the start of a mortgage, a huge chunk of your repayment goes towards paying the interest. So any extra repayments you can do will reduce the principal of the loan, meaning less interest you get charged on the remaining loan. If you have been following this channel, you would have already seen me selling off thousands of dollars worth of shares to pay off our mortgage faster. But once again, this is not intended as financial advice, this is just us sharing our experience. And our experience is unique to us due to our circumstances.
So, our road to owning our first home got serious on the 20th of June 2024 when we submitted an application with Squirrel Mortgages. The best decision ever, because we had a Squirrel Mortgage advisor every step of the way, and exactly 2 months later on the 20th of August, which just so happens to be our wedding anniversary, we were given the keys to our brand new home, and we moved in and we became new homeowners. And the beauty of Squirrel Mortgages is that they still continue to support us. They continuously check in to see if everything is going all right and if we have any questions. And our advisor said it himself.
I absolutely like to remind people that, my journey with you guys doesn't need to end when we just complete this one transaction, right? There's a series of advice that we talk about and bits of the process that we talk through that actually can be ongoing, basically for as long as you have a mortgage and as long as you're happy to, keep the conversation going. So once we've gone through this, once you settle, we will then, we can touch base, at your next refix points and give, check in on loan structure, make sure it's working for you, make sure that you've got, confidence around your interest rate strategy moving forward, all that kind of stuff.
One thing multiple people have commented on is how fast we bought a house. Even Adam said it a couple of times.
Have a set of keys in your hand and a home, which is pretty unreal considering how short this journey's been. You really have jumped in the fast lane and really, got it done with the highest degree of efficiency. So nice work. I've had clients that I work with for 2 years before they buy a house. So, this is very, very efficient. The fact anyone who buys within their first 90-day approval is doing very, very well, and you bought before you were approved at all. So you've done well. There might be some hate in the comments section on YouTube.
And yes, our house buying process did start on the 20th of June, but I believe it started years ago.
Both of us are from families that had to live below our means, and that's a mindset we carried into our adult lives and careers.
That plus working on our careers, finances, and building a stronger relationship over the years, it meant we only needed someone to show us the process of buying a house. Online, there's a lot of information that makes it overwhelming.
But Squirrel made everything super easy to understand, as you would have seen throughout our journey.
So we do have to thank them for making this journey clear and faster for us.
Pretty cool. See you in the next video.